Good morning, world, and welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Yes, y'all, we are back like a shark attack, back like we left some, back like we ain't got no clothes on our back. And for the world is a better place when the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast is taking place. And so thank you all for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that has taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this week. It's always a blast to have you all tune in, participate with us every weekend. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast community page, on Instagram at the Early Morning Sports Talk pod, YouTube as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, Apple Podcasts, and Apple Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price, Jamar Goodman, and Peoples Hernandez. Today is December 10th of 2022. We have yet again seen another fascinating week in the sports world, where we saw Brittney Griner be released from Russian prison. She has been set free and sent back home to the United States in her home state of Texas, where she is now reunited with her wife, Sherelle, and she is being evaluated at a very special place for, anything related to disease or sickness, et cetera, at a special hospital. Deion Sanders, y'all, he left Jackson State and moved on to accept the head coach position at the University of Colorado. The 2022 World Cup is taking place, and y'all, it has been a fantastic World Cup. Stunners has taken place as Morocco has knocked off Spain, and today they take against Portugal. Brazil, y'all, every time they favorites collapsed late against Croatia. And then last night it was a classic between Argentina and the Netherlands. And so now we are en route to the round of four, again with Morocco taking on Portugal first, and then a big showdown between France and England. The Boston Celtics continue to play historic basketball offensively. Baker Mayfield, he came back late in the fourth quarter after being picked up by the Rams last, Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Tuesday. Then had a little chance to probably meet the guys on Wednesday, right? And then playing in the game on Thursday. I heard he got to LA, Wednesday night or something like that. And so, to see all that happen, and came back late in the fourth quarter and shocked the Las Vegas Raiders, y'all, whom sadly, y'all, this has been the story of their season. Okay. Lost to the Las Vegas Raiders, choked again, y'all, as usual. Now they are 5-8, and as usual, they beat themselves. And lastly, the last four college football playoff teams were announced. And so, with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing excellent, man. How you all doing, fellas?
Pretty good.
Yes. Additionally, introducing our partner here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast and our other brother from another mother, Mr. Ian Jones, a.k.a. Peoples Hernandez. Mr. Ian Jones, my bro, what it do?
Hey, how y'all doing this morning? How y'all feeling?
Pretty good, man.
Solid.
Yes, appreciate it. And so with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. And so, fellas know how I go. Chime in. Jamar, you hit us off, and you follow up. And so, yes, Brittney Griner, y'all, has been released from prison in Russia in exchange for a Russian arms dealer by the name of Victor Bout. Victor Bout, y'all, has a movie named after him. And it came out in 2005 with Nicolas Cage. And it's called The Lord of War. Additionally, Victor Bout has been called the Merchant of Death because of all the killing he has done, but also because of wars, etc., all type of political militia stuff this guy's been into. And so I'm just curious, guys, because there's been a lot of different thoughts on this, a lot of different stances of people and their opinions and stuff. And so just curious, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel that the United States got this right? And are you happy for Brittney Griner and her family? And so, because as stated, it's a lot of opinions, political, et cetera, this and that. And so, Jamar, I want you to hit us off, bro. What is your thoughts on that?
Man, I actually want to pivot to one of you all. I want to do some listening on this one. So I guess either you or Ian just go ahead and take the lead on this one. I definitely just want to listen first.
You in the order, bro? You up first?
Oh, you just gonna give it to me, huh?
No, I was saying the end. I was saying the end.
Oh, go ahead. I couldn't hear you.
But
Sorry.
if Ann ain't gonna go, I go. I go, Jamar. I'm waiting.
That's cool. I'm happy. Happy that she's back. It's crazy. We had this conversation last weekend. With Lex, and she ended up coming home this week, which is crazy. I'm glad that she's home. I think whoever that she got traded out with, people was gonna have an issue with. So, I mean, it's kind of like 50-50 kind of thing. But I mean, we wanted her home. That's the most important thing. So I don't, I've been seeing a lot of people, complaining about, who they traded her with, and well, maybe she should have stayed because we didn't want him to get out. But in the beginning, we were saying free BG. We had all these shirts. We was having this campaign, standing with her. Like, you got to keep that same energy if you're home. And that we're on it. So, I'm just happy that she's home. She's with her family. And, we don't know what she went through while she was over there. So, I think that's the most important thing.
Right. And my soft-spoken brother, and just keeps it very, very gentle and very, very cool and relaxed. I love it. I really love it. And so, yeah, let me get on these hypocritical ass people, bro. 1 minute they sitting out here, bro, and they want to talk about Brittney Griner being released, et cetera, right? We need to release her. She's been wrongfully detained. There's only been a vape that she brought over there. Why is this such a big deal, et cetera? First and foremost, y'all, we got to get this out the way, right, Ann and Jamar? Ann and Jamar know me very well, and they know I stay overseas. I'm not in the United States. The difference between United States rules and different countries, they have different rules. And so some countries might be a lot more strict than what you're used to in the United States. But that don't necessarily mean that to that country, that's a bad thing. That just means in that country where those people have been living their entire lives, that's how things are. Not necessarily how the United States is. And the world, FYI, y'all, don't revolve around the United States. It's a big world with a whole bunch of different countries that have their own different mindsets, values, etc. But Ian, you said something pivotal here, bro. Keep that same energy. 1 minute, everybody out here, Jamar, they want her to be released. They feel like she's been wrongfully detained. They feel like she's been a political pawn because of tensions between the United States and Russia due to what's happening in Russia bullying little Ukraine, right? Russia and the United States, y'all, FYI, it's sort of like when y'all in the hood, right? And you got ops across the street, right, Annie Jamar? And the op, he always stand out front and he look at you and he's waiting for you to say anything wrong. He been like, I've been waiting to get on your ass for a long time. I've been waiting. I've been mad since World War II. I've been mad since World War I. I've been mad since the Cold War. And we don't like each other. I'm just waiting for any little reason to get on your ass. And the United States feel the same way. They saying, yeah, I'm waiting on you. I've been waiting on your ass for a long time too. And as soon as the opportunity's right, we gonna let this thing fly. And so this is what's happening, fellas, as y'all know, between the United States and Russia. And so Brittney Griner just so happened to be the perfect scapegoat. I bet Vladimir Putin, y'all, was like, oh, yes, this is perfect. Like, this is the perfect scenario. And so she so happened to be in the middle of all that. Now, bro, when you said, and the things that she encountered over there, I can imagine it was not nice. I can imagine it was gruesome. I can imagine it was terrible. And so my question to everybody out here is, what about Brittney Griner? What about the things she encountered? What about the things she went through? What about the trauma she has suffered? And so 1 minute folks out here want her to be released, but then the next minute they all angry and saying, this was a bad exchange for Victor Boot because of all the bad stuff he's done in comparison to she only brought a vapor. Keep in mind, y'all, that Russia's a very stubborn place. They have very deep pride and they love conflict. They love it. This is like cake to them. That's just how they've been. That's just their culture. That's how they roll. And so the United States, they're like, hey, we got to kind of accept what we can accept, Jamar, because if we don't accept this, based off of what they're offering, we might not get anything in return. And so Russia made it very clear, y'all, we are only giving you Brittney Griner. We're only giving you her. We're not giving you no Paul Willing, because they feel like Paul Willing, y'all, is an op over there because he was working with the Marines. And so anybody that's in the militia is a problem to them because they stand as a problem to what they're doing. So potentially he could be a guy that could blow our country up. What the hell we finna let him out for? No, we're not letting him out. We'll let Brittney out because Brittney, you know, suffered a lot and she brought just a vape over here. But even amongst that, to them, that vape still means a lot because it's, you know, indiscretion of the law. And so Russia's very stubborn, y'all. So this should not be a surprise. So the United States, y'all, they were put in a situation to where they had to accept what they had to accept, because if not, they wouldn't get nothing, period. Now, it's very interesting to me, fellas, why they wanted Victor back. It's very interesting, but they got him back. That's all they was offering. And I give Joe Biden, I give him props because I give Camilla props because they went ahead and accepted what they could accept it. They like, hey, we gonna hear people talk. As y'all know, the right wingers, the right wingers, the Republicans are all ticked off because they feel like this was a bad exchange and to make the United States look like punks and make us look like punks to Russia and make it look like Russia got a W over us. But really, in reality, y'all, I feel like Brittney Griner is all that mattered. And I feel like actually in this, the United States got a W, not an L. I feel like they got a W, y'all, because they got Brittney Griner back. They got this woman back that went there for nothing, who was a political pawn, who was wrongfully detained. And now she's able to be back with her family. And also, I want to give a shout out to Sherelle as well, because she is truly, Jamar, in a testament to what a partner and a wife should be. She has stood by her side. She has advocated. And by the way, Brittney and Sherelle, they have made it clear as they go forth that they will advocate for Paul, that they will advocate for the two other people that are detained over in Russia right now, et cetera, journalists and a few military people. And so they are going to advocate for them going forward. And so for me, I feel like the United States got a W. I don't feel like they suffered an L. I don't feel like they backing down at being punks to Russia. And at the end of the day, I need y'all to keep that same energy that y'all had when she was wrongfully detained. But now that she's out, y'all want to complain and talk about this. People all on Instagram and Facebook, y'all posting pictures of Brittney Griner. Not even Brittney Griner, Jamar, but they posting pictures of like strippers. They post a picture of her smoking weed. You know, like this literally a guy, right? That looked like Brittney Griner with the grades. They got in a strip club. They're like, this is the first thing Brittney Griner gonna do when she get home. People posting pictures of you know, just ignorant stuff of them having sex, potential. I mean, just crazy stuff all flying down my timeline. And guess what I did to those people? I deleted them. They are no longer on my timeline. You really get to see people's opinions and how sexist people are, especially when it comes to women in our country. And I shout out my brothers all the time on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast because they advocate for women and they advocate for women's sports. But it's tough, y'all, to go down your timeline and see how sexist a lot of our guys are to women, and especially WNBA women and women that, you know, like Brittney Griner, there might be a woman that act like a dude. But at the end of the day, she's still a woman. And so I applaud you fellas for that. And so, yeah, man, keep that same energy, y'all. Don't switch up now. Keep it going. You know, that's all I got to say. So, yeah. Jamar, what you got for that, bro? You ain't got nothing. What you got to say, man?
Man, no, I appreciate y'all input here. I was just, you know, making sure how I felt was probably aligned here. Just, it's like this whole scenario, how it, like, from start to finish, like, just the energies of it, it's just so conflicting. At one point, like you said, you know, bring her back, wrongfully detained. And now when we got her back, it's like, yeah, I don't know, we should have made that exchange for her. But you know, the movement was to bring her back. So it's like, basically, you look, just like Ian said, like, everybody's not gonna be happy about this one. It just, you can't make everybody happy. It is what it is. Like you said, Brandon, like, take what you can get. Of course, they was gonna, want somebody that's, very probably, very, I can't even think of the word, but more so
Russian, very combative,
yeah,
very
yeah,
won't
all
smoke.
those,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much something that goes against the grain that everybody, it's just you take what you can get. At the end of the day, you get somebody home that's in a situation that probably definitely didn't want to be in to begin with. I mean, we're human. No, I don't think I would want to be wrongfully detained for such and such for an extended period of time. Even though people probably say like I wouldn't even put myself in that situation, blah 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 blah. I get that, but still, things happen. It just happens. Like you could be doing all the things right in the world and still end up in a bad situation just because how life is sometimes. Nobody's immune from that. Just at the end of the day, we got her back home. End of story. Keep it moving. That's it.
Right. Yeah. And so yes, y'all. Brittney Griner is back home. She's back in Texas, I believe, near the San Antonio area with her wife. And so, yeah, I'm very glad to see her back home. It was a shock when I woke up and I saw it. It was out of nowhere, but hey, it shows y'all this, man, that we indeed serve a real and a true God that makes a way out of no way. And so if you need proof, there's proof right there. All right, fellas, let's now move on to, we got a lot of news this week, man. Deion Sanders, y'all, he has left Jackson State to accept the head coach role at the University of Colorado. Once again, fellas, a lot of opinions here. A lot of opinions here. So I need you guys to give us your opinions and just let the world know what you guys think. And so, Jamar, we'll begin with you. How do you feel about Deion Sanders leaving Jackson State and going to the University of Colorado? Are you happy for Prime? Are you happy for Jackson State? Are you happy for, how do you feel about this?
Hey, clap it up for Coach Prime. Coach Prime, one time, man.
Yes.
Man, Prime did his thing, man. Prime. I'm super happy for Coach Prime. And I don't understand the people that are upset with this. I don't get it. Like Coach Prime, Deion Sanders came to Jackson State for a coaching opportunity. His dream job at the time was Florida State. He wanted to go back to his alma mater, coach there. Didn't happen. Jackson State offered him a deal. What he has done, look, how I measure success at a certain place for anybody, if you leave there and it ended up in a better situation than you when you got there. And that's exactly what he did. I mean, for one, the man got paid $300,000 a year, which, I guess from coaching standards isn't much, but half of that salary he donated back to the school to actually, put better facilities, all just made the living conditions and the conditions for student athletes a lot better than what it was. Too, not to mention that all the bad politics and the thefts and all this other stuff he had to go through while he was there, and he still, sucked it up, put his best foot forward, got recruits there that they would never ever had in their life, ever. Travis Hunter, the number one corner in that class that one time, probably the third best prospect overall. He chose Jackson State because of Deion. You think he's going to Jackson State if Deion wasn't there? No way, no how, no chance at all. So for him to have a 27-5 record there, go undefeated, do his thing, to get a job like Colorado, which gives him more resources, that gave him, and the one thing I do appreciate about Colorado, they allowed him to be him. You can tell in that first little meeting with the students, dude, Deion let them know and I appreciate Deion so much. That I had to look at that record. They only won one game this past year, one game. So he told them, like, look, hey, I got dogs coming. I got my luggage coming with me. Like, look, if you're not rolling with us, you can get out. And everybody not gonna have a job here. He told them straight up. And I appreciate that. And even in his press conference, he basically addressed the people like, just because I'm leaving Jackson State doesn't just because I'm leaving Jackson State doesn't mean I'm not black. I'm still African American. Like, bro, like all in all, man, Deion has a better job, better resources. Between his impact in college football right now in the transfer portal, Colorado is going to be a powerhouse here pretty soon. We thought Nick Saban was college football for so long. It's Deion Sanders now. Deion Sanders has the effect, has the aura, has the resume so far, and has the ear of the children. So therefore, it's Deion's show, man. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. And your thoughts, bro?
Salute to Coach Prime for making that move. I don't know. We as a people, it's truly sad sometimes. We don't never want to see each other elevate. It seems like we just want to see each other in the same positions, or
right. This is facts, though.
We contradict ourselves a lot. Like Jamar stated, he was only making $300,000 a year, which is, that's a lot of money to me. Others, but as far as coaches go, it's not a lot, and it's not a lot of money to him. Like he stated in the press conference at Colorado, he said, "I got money already. It ain't about a bag." He said, "I've been had money," which we all know he been had money. So for me, it's a thing where I told a couple people, I say, well, how can we complain about him? Just moving up, but we do it every day. If you had a job and they made $2 more an hour than your job now, you're gonna leave that job all day, every day. If it fits your schedule, if it accommodates you, and they make $2 more than what you make now, you're gonna make the same move. That's essentially what he's doing. So you're gonna tell me from 300,000 to 5 million a year, you're not gonna leave Jackson State? And certain people say, "No, I wouldn't do it." I say, "You a damn fool," because yes, you would.
Come on, bro.
We can't. I always tell people, you don't know what you would do in that position, because God didn't put you in that position yet. So don't say what you won't do and what you will do, because you don't know. And 95% of everybody would do the same thing he did. That man has done nothing wrong. I even seen some comments from the players saying, I don't even know why people are talking bad about Coach Prime. They love Coach Prime. I even watched his exit interview. All the kids were just saying that they appreciate, what he did. Some people that played on that team that never really won anything. Right. One of the guys was that he won 12 games in high school, his whole career. That's crazy in 4 years. He said, "I came here." He said, "You gave us a winning culture." And he said, "Man, I'm appreciative." So we got to stop being like that as people. But Coach Prime, he's definitely changing that culture, man. It's pretty good to see him get the job, and I'm excited to see what he do at Colorado.
Yeah, exactly, bro. This is factual, man. Just want to address the comments. Tank Meek say what up, Lil Cuzzo. And then Rhonda LaGoyce, she came on and she stated, "Moving on up, Deion, heading to Chicago." So I believe she might be telling us as Bears fans, stating that possibly after Colorado, Deion will come to the Bears and be there.
Now, one thing I do know that people probably, I think I've heard him say this out of his mouth. He said he'll never coach in the NFL. That's one thing he said. I've heard him say that before. So I believe
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. Thank you for that comment, Rhonda. And so yes, I'm happy for Coach Prime myself. And once again, bro, you hit on it like so hypocritical. Folks think that just because you Black, right, that everything you do just supposed to be for Blacks. And it don't be just like removing your total self, right? Removing your total self for all the folks that look like you and that encountered the same struggle as you. If we're talking about a struggle, we don't know how Coach Prime pockets even look, bro. Like Coach Prime, just because it's factual, and a lot of them guys make a lot of money, but at the same time, they got a lot of big expenses. Okay, so sometimes it ain't necessarily about what you make; it's about how you manage what you got. And so, who knows how Deion managed, etc. So moving from 300K to 5 million, y'all, is a big jump. And excuse me, most of y'all will accept that if y'all was given that opportunity too. And so you wouldn't be sitting there worried about, oh yeah, I got to do what I got to do for the black race, for the people, power to the people. I can't sit there and take $4.7 million additionally a year for 5 or 7, 11 years because I'm worried about, come on. Most of y'all would do the same thing. And Coach Prime has blessed that program, turned that program around. It's an attractive job still, I feel, y'all, that the next man that come there will likely be an NFL guy because that is the thing around HBCU football right now. You got Eddie George, y'all. I believe he's at Tennessee State, right? You got a couple other NFL players, one at Southern, one at Texas Southern. Like you got a number of NFL guys. Even Ray Lewis, y'all, has been brought up in the mix, FYI, for a head coach position. Maybe not at Jackson State, but other positions in SWAC football. And so, yeah, he left Jackson State. Be happy for him at Colorado. And I still feel that Jackson State will still bounce back. They will still get another quality head coach, y'all, because that program is now an attractive job. Those facilities are a lot better. That fan base is there. People are excited. And so I think Jackson State and Colorado, y'all, are both in good positions going forward. They both are in a position, y'all, going forward to win, both of them. And so, yes, congratulations to Coach Prime on behalf of the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Jamar, bro, let's talk the 2022 World Cup. And so, just curious, guys, we got 6 teams left, okay? And so, Brazil, y'all, I just want to get y'all comments on Brazil. What is the problem with Brazil, Ann and Jamar? This team's the favorite for the last 3 World Cups, and it always seems like they come up short. So 2014, they went to the final. They got blew out by Germany. Probably it was a football score, 7-0. 2018, they lost in a round of 8. And additionally, in 2022, they got upset to Croatia yesterday. And so, a lot of folks generally are always on this bandwagon because they got a lot of talented guys, but they seem to come up short. What do you guys think is the problem with Brazil? Why do they always come up short?
I think that they underestimate their opponent a lot of times. I think they know that they're good, and we all know that they're good, but I feel like they don't play as hard as they should sometimes. I mean, I was having a conversation yesterday with someone, and they were saying, Croatia is just, they got dogs in them, as in they play with a lot of heart and effort and leave it out there. So when you got teams like that, especially teams that, come in a little loose because they got nothing to lose, play, give it their all, and you're not, doing what you need to do to that extent, then of course you leave yourself vulnerable to incidences like this. Like, we know Brazil's a powerhouse, but just because on paper they're a powerhouse don't mean that they're gonna play like such. It's a lot of it is on them. It's not even the opponent, it's them.
We got a guest coming on. And so this is very, very true. And so look who popped up and joined us this morning. I think he got something to say about Brazil as well. And so Ian, your thoughts, bro?
I can agree with Jamar. I think it's probably a situation where, they just simply don't play up into their opponent. Just underestimating their opponent, not playing, just thinking that everything's gonna come easy because they're talented. You can't play like that. You can, you go into a game thinking, are we more talented than them? So we should just beat them. And that's not always the case, and that's in any sport. But I think that's probably mainly the main issue.
Yeah. Frank, good morning, bro. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And so just FYI, bro, we were talking about the World Cup and we were talking about Brazil right now. We were talking about Brazil and how talented they are, how they have been the favorites for the last 3 World Cups, and they have come up short. In 2014, you remember, Frank, they made the final, got blew out by Germany. It was a football score. The game was over by halftime. 2018, they lost in the round of 8, if not the round of 4. And then additionally, this year, they got upset in the round of 8. And so I'm curious, Frank, as a soccer savant, somebody that really, really watches this game and has played it, what is the problem with this Brazilian team who is very talented on paper, has the top players in the world, 4 top players in the top 10, still come up short?
I tell you, man, it's you know what we call in America, we have white privilege, right? Where you think you just got it and then it's going to be handed out to you, right? I think Brazil is suffering from some Brazilian privilege from years before. And so they think they're just going to walk over everybody just because, you know, they got it and they got all the talents. But I think the biggest problem they have is they have really good offensive play. They can do whatever they want on the offensive end, but it literally takes one mistake on the defense to lose it all. And they have not, if you look at a team like France, they're defending, they're playing in the middle of the field, they're playing out in the forward of the game. So the problem with Brazil, they just focus on offense. Let's score as many goals and play as fancy as we can. And that has become a big problem. All the Brazilian teams, the ones that won 5 World Cups before, they were defensive minded. They were strong guys. They were ready to stop anybody at any point in time during the game. Whereas the kids that are playing now, they're really just focused like, what fancy move can I make? How can I be scoring the best possible goal in the World Cup right now? And they forget that one hiccup could really change the dynamics of the game, which is what happened with Croatia. You know, they scored that 1 goal in 76 minutes and they probably started to think, oh, this is over. Whereas Croatia was like, we're going down to the wire. This is not over until that final whistle of the game comes through. And that's been going on for Brazil now for a few years. They just think, oh, we're Brazil, we're going to win it all. You know, so I don't know, man. It's and then the game has just changed. I mean, there's so much more better teams all around the world, you know. You can't underestimate anybody. I mean, Morocco, for God's sake, came out of nowhere. And now they are so far advanced. So we'll see how they play out today, though.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, this is factual, man. And my point in Frank, Jamar, is how the hell are they going to underestimate? I mean, don't get me wrong. Brazil is very talented. Everybody had them beat Croatia, including me. But Croatia, y'all remember they just made the final in 2018. It was them in France. So like, that really shows you how arrogant they are. Like, this is sort of like in Miami Heat, bro, 2010, coming up short. This is a big ass deal, especially around the world. Nadia's hurt. Okay. Like, because all that talent on paper, right? All that talent on paper, and it just comes up short. And just because you Miami Heat talented, one thing about the Miami Heat is, Miami Heat had flaws and they got exposed. The Warriors very talented, though. They kind of remind me of France. They defend. That's the difference, Frank. They get down on the defensive end and they locking you up and making sure you don't score. And they understand that great defense leads to offense. Whereas Brazil seems to think that we can outscore you. We want to find out who's going to make the top 10 on ESPN while we in the round of 8. Not realizing that really and Frank, and Frank can tell you this. Every team that make that final 8 is a very good team. Often the only thing that separates those teams are the penalty kicks. Yep. Most of those games go to the wire, down to overtime. And if you ever watch the World Cup and you see the round of 8, round of 4, or even a final, it's coming down to penalty kicks. Guarantee you, most of the time, which means in that case that most of these teams are very good. They are not scrubs. They are very, very disciplined. And the only margin of error that you have in this type of round is very minimal. And any little mistake, any little slip up will cost you, period.
That's what happened to Brazil, man. Everybody number one in the world. I think they've lost like maybe 2 games, and that Croatia game was one of them.
Yeah.
It's 2018, they've lost 2 games.
Yeah. And so yes, Frank, while I got you on, Ian and Jamar, Frank, we'll go to you first on this one, then we'll go to Ian, and then we'll go to Jamar.
Yeah.
We got two epic matchups taking place today. And so Morocco and Portugal, and England and France.
Yeah.
And so we got, in this case, 6 teams left, y'all. We got Croatia, we got Argentina, Morocco, Portugal, England, and France. Out of these 6 teams, which team do you think is coming out of the World Cup?
And I still stand with France. From my perspective, I picked them to make it all the way. I was hoping they'll be playing Brazil, but obviously that's not going to happen. So right now, I think the France-England game, whoever wins that game is likely going to make the final and might have a very good chance of winning it all, because England is also pretty good. I mean, they're solid, you know. They have some amazing guys on both defensive, midfield, and forward. Now, I don't want to count out Morocco, though. They've impressed me the way they're playing. They are all-round team as well. And if they can make it past Portugal, I will see them actually, they may make noise. They might make noise against the French team as well. So at this point, I'm just saying the 3 teams playing today have a chance to win it all. And whoever makes it out gives themselves a really good opportunity to actually make some noise. I'm leaning towards France, though.
Right. Yes, indeed. Ian, bro, it's 6 teams left. Morocco, Portugal, England, France, and then Croatia and Argentina. Out of those 6 teams, bro, who do you think comes out?
I'm trying to remember. I had 2 teams. I believe France.
You had France and you had Brazil.
Right.
If not Brazil, maybe Argentina. But no, you have Brazil, because me and Nadia had Argentina. Jamar picked Uruguay, Frank picked France, and you picked Brazil to play France in the final.
So I have France or Brazil in the final. Yeah. So I mean, I'll say France. I'm gonna stick with my first man. I'm gonna say France, but I mean, Croatia with the big upset. I mean, seem like they're hungry, so we can't be surprised if they come through and pull through and win it all.
Yeah, I see your point. And just to add on to that, Croatia is really good, but Argentina is hungry. They are going.
That's my pick.
They're going all out, and it's Messi's final World Cup. I don't know that he'll play another one, so that Argentina-Croatia game will be really good.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm very interested in that one. That's another dogfight. And so for the final for me, I got France and I got Argentina. And boy, if that happens, it will be something. Shout out to Kylian Mbappe, y'all, who's killing it right now, right, Frank? This man.
He's living it up, man. Right now he's actually on par with the Argentina Messi in terms of everything. Goals scored, and he's only played 2 World Cups, and he's 23. He's like, what the heck, man? He's gonna break the record, and I don't think anybody will break it again unless he gets some massive injury that keeps him out of 3 World Cups. But if he plays this World Cup, next World Cup, because he's 23, so he's gonna be 27 the next one, and then 30. That's prime time right there, right? So he's getting up there as one of the best to be in the field, right?
Yeah, this is factual. Yeah. Yep. Jamar, bro. We got 6 teams left. We got Croatia, we got Argentina, Morocco, Portugal, England, France. Out of those 6 teams, who do you think moves on and wins the World Cup?
So at this point, I would probably say France, but I definitely just want to say that Portugal has shown me that they are more than just Cristiano Ronaldo. That team there is showing me that they can really, really probably make a serious run here too. So I'm thinking it's probably France, but I'm definitely not sleeping on Portugal whatsoever. Not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad y'all mentioning teams outside of France, because France haven't even made the round of 4 yet. And they could very, very, very well lose because England is just as better. They are extremely talented. And as you guys, as we talked about in the World Cup, at this point of the stage, only thing that's separating these teams often is just a little mistake, one little mistake, and that's it. And you could lose no matter who you are. And so France could very well lose, and we could very well end up talking about Argentina tomorrow, or Croatia tomorrow. Croatia once again made the final in 2018. Why are we sleeping on this team? I don't know. Hello. And so Portugal, right, Jamar? They did what they did, right, Frank, without Cristiano Ronaldo, who got into it with the coach, cussed him out. And as a result, he had to come off the bench. And so I will see what he does, but I think the coach might start him today because he realized that Morocco ain't no joke. But we'll see how that go. Because without him, Portugal blew the water out of their last opponent. And so, yes, very, very good soccer going on, y'all. It is the most wonderful time of the year. We got all sports going on right now. All right, fellas. That covers our conversation for the World Cup, you all. And now we'll kind of trend back into the NFL and some football. And so, fellas, now do NFL reactions and overreactions. And so, Frank, I don't know if you stay on with us. It's up to you if you want to. But if you want to go ahead and chime out, you can. It's up to you. We appreciate you definitely stopping by and giving us that ESPN Sports Center type insight. Kind of stop, chime in on the World Cup, you know what I'm saying? And be like, all right, I did my part.
Hey, I saw you studying the work. I was like, I'm going to sneak in here for just 5 minutes and then I'm going to check out. So I'll let you all go on with the World Cup going on. I'm not paying attention to any other games in the world right now. So I'll check that, man. I'll keep an eye on what you guys are doing.
Yes, and so in that case, Frank, we expect to see you next Saturday then.
There you go. I'll be there.
All right, brother. We appreciate you. All right. Have a great day.
You too.
See ya.
All right. Yes. So, fellas, NFL reactions and overreactions. And so, Jamal, we'll start with you, and Ian, you'll chime in. And so, fellas, with Thursday night heroics from Baker Mayfield and leading the Los Angeles Rams to a dramatic late victory over the Las Vegas Raiders, did that game-winning drive you guys feel from Baker Mayfield savage his career?
Yeah, I felt like it did. I mean, Baker's the #1 overall pick. It didn't pan out in Cleveland. Went to Carolina. Didn't pan out there either. They told him, like, look, at this point, you're gonna be third string. He was like, get me out of here. The only team to even make a claim on this man was the Rams, and they just so happen to have a terrible situation at quarterback, because there's rumblings to think that Matthew Stafford might be like stick a fork in him, like done. There's rumblings. So what Baker did, like you mentioned earlier, like the man, 48 hours, if that, like meeting teammates probably on the field. It feels like, no, what he did in that last drive though, 98-yard drive, game-winning touchdown pass to Van Jefferson with 9 seconds left, 23-yard touchdown, and the strikes in that drive itself. I'm like, okay, like they see something, they trying to see if they can get the #1 pick, the positives out of him. Yeah, I mean, he looked nice. He looked nice. So yeah, I definitely don't think that's an overreaction at all, by any means.
Yeah, and bro, did that game-winning drive from Baker Mayfield you feel like salvaged his career?
Overreaction. I think it was impressive, for him to just get there Tuesday and to pull off a win with basically not knowing the playbook. But I mean, he still has to play a full season, and there's levels to it. I just think, in my Shannon Sharp voice, I just think he's another guy. But that was pretty impressive for him to come there Tuesday, play Thursday night, and basically start the game and basically lead them to a win. But the Raiders are a terrible team, not talent-wise, but just far as coaching and everything else, they're a terrible coach team.
Yeah. They definitely and so do you guys feel like in a way that this was more so a Las Vegas Raiders collapse rather than a Baker Mayfield heroic? Because I feel like it was a Las Vegas Raiders collapse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, like I went to bed at halftime. I'm like, this game's over. So when I woke
me
up
too.
and saw the score, I'm saying like, there's no way. Like the Raiders were in full control of this game one way or another. All they had to do was just continue to get the ball to number 28. That's all they had to do. And then it goes back to coaching, just like Peoples Hernandez just said. It goes back to coaching. That dude does not need to be a head coach in this league whatsoever. And I'm going to continue to stand on that until he's not a head coach anymore.
Yeah. Yep. And so, Josh McDaniels, man, he still might be on a hot seat after having that winning streak. And you thinking, all right, he might be safe after this loss. I mean, what can you really go in the office, right? And Jamar and tell the higher ups what we just can't get it right. You're gonna be like, what the hell? What about you?
Not to mention that their running back, he leads the league in rushing yards.
Not to mention that Devontae Adams leads the league in touchdown receptions and is viewed by many as the best receiver in football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, Jamar?
Yeah. I view him as such.
I do too. I'm with you. He's a grown man. No disrespect to the other guys, but he is virtually unstoppable. And he gave Jalen Ramsey the business Thursday night, and he still lost. So yeah. Yes. All right, fellas. Let's now move on to another NFL reaction, an overreaction. Is it an overreaction to think that after all the losing this team has suffered and all that this city has been through, that the future for the Detroit Lions football team is bright? Jamar, and this should make y'all happy.
Hey, Ian, this is our moment right here, man. This is our moment. All that grit, all that sacrifice, all that blood, sweat, and tears, all those kneecaps being bitten, it's starting to pan out now. These boys starting to look ferocious. The craziest thing, and I'm still baffled, the fact that they are a favorite against a 10-2 Vikings team, and this is the first time in the Super Bowl era that a 10-2 team in the Vikings or whomever is an underdog in a matchup as such. Like, this is crazy.
Against a team with a record as such, right?
Yes.
Yep.
But I see why. I can see why. We'll get to our picks later, but no, this team is, playing like they're playing with a sense of urgency. And it shows. Jared Goff is playing with a sense of urgency because I feel like he's at a crossroads in his career. These last few games is going to determine if the Lions probably going to stick with him at quarterback and not draft one, or they're going to use one of those two first-round picks and go get a quarterback, because this is a quarterback-heavy draft. A lot of people at crossroads here, but this team is rising to the occasion. Jamal Williams, I think he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. DeAndre Swift is healthy. Jamison Williams is healthy. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a monster. Reynolds is pretty solid. I mean, just DJ Shark is healthy. Like, this team is solid, and the defense is playing well enough right now. That's the key. The defense is playing well enough. So yes, I'm on board.
Jamar, Ian, this Hutchinson kid is becoming a grown man right before our eyes, bro. Like, you guys see the pressure he's putting on a quarterback. Like, he is on his way to being one of the top defensive ends and one of the top defensive players in football. He's going to win the DPOY award eventually. He's going to win it. That is how good he is. And that's just the defensive side. And we know how they are offensively, but when you got dogs on the defense now molding and growing, that makes it really, really, really scary. Not to mention that Jamison Williams, y'all, is now viewed like Tyreek Hill fast. I read an article about it about a week ago. He's there too now. So go ahead, and
I mean, the top pick. I mean, the culture change. We're probably seeing the culture change right before our eyes. I've been riding it down with the Lions for the last 2 years. They let me down, and I think the turnaround in the season probably started from when they beat our Bears by one measly point. I think it started, like I said, for years. I mean, they have the talent. The talent is there. They're not the. It just seemed like almost sometimes like they were cursed, but it seemed like it's kind of turning around now. They're finally starting to make things the way that they should, and I think Dan Campbell is getting the point across. So, there'll be a team to watch out and look for. They just got James Williams back, so that was a big acquisition last offseason. He's coming off the ACL injury and last college playoff. So they got weapons. They got young pieces on defense. And I mean, it's a bright future. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go as far as like with Jared Goff. I don't know if they're going to keep him as like the franchise quarterback or look for something different. But they'll probably give him another year. But the future is looking pretty bright right now for Detroit.
Yeah, definitely. We just say here on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, look out for the Detroit Lions. Just look out for the rest of this season and definitely next season. All right, fellas. Is it an overreaction to think that the San Francisco 49ers, who suffered, y'all, a big loss with Jimmy Garoppolo being injured this past weekend, is it an overreaction to think that the San Francisco 49ers will struggle severely without Jimmy G as their starting quarterback and relying on Mr. Irrelevant draft pick rookie quarterback Brock Purdy? This is a very interesting one because he played really well last week.
Yeah. I don't think it's no way. I think it is overreaction. Because the parts around him makes it good enough for him to just play okay and they'll be fine. If the defense wasn't elite, if they didn't have a running back that can play wide receiver, if they didn't have a wide receiver that can play running back, if they didn't have one of the most ferocious tight ends in the league, if they didn't have one of the best one-on-one wide receivers as well and a competent head coach, then maybe so, I would agree. But I think it's just so much around him.
Best all he got.
Yeah. He just really just take what the defense give him. He be the ultimate game manager. He could throw for 150
Don't turn the ball
yards and be fine. Like, that's the type of system and culture and scheme that they have created here. So yeah, I think it's overreaction. I think they'll be okay.
Because they didn't rely much on Jimmy G anyway.
There you go.
And your thoughts, bro?
I think it's an overreaction. You know what's crazy? All the teams, and maybe this is biased by me, but if we just look at all the teams that passed on Justin Fields, their quarterback is struggling. You go from 49ers, who had the number one pick that year?
Jags.
Number two, and number one was the Jags with Sunshine.
Oh yeah, the Jags. I mean, he's still up in the air.
Yeah,
him and Justin in the same boat, but
you got the Jets,
49ers,
the Falcons,
the Falcons, the Panthers,
Broncos.
Broncos. They got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, Broncos, and I mean, well, we picked them first, but I mean the Patriots too. But I don't know. It's just the team is loaded, like Jamar said. They got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, best O-lineman in the game, Trent Williams. The defense is pretty solid. All he has to do is manage the game. it'll a couple games will probably come down to him and his experience, but I think they'll be fine though.
You know what it really quick, you know what it reminds me of? This is going to a basketball reference, but when the Boston Celtics won in 2008 and Rondo was, very young, he just had to manage and just basically give, playing with 3 Hall of Famers at the time. It's all in their prime. So that's basically how I look at it. Just don't turn the ball over. Just give it to your playmakers. That's it.
Yeah.
This is factual, bro. So go ahead in, bro. My bad. Sorry.
No, you're good. Easier said than done, but I was just agreeing with Jamar here.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys had the chance, but yesterday for 2 hours and 11 minutes, I watched the Knuckleheads and I watched Kevin Garnett. And if you have not had the chance, watch that episode with Kevin Garnett and the Knuckleheads. It was good as hell. Good as hell. KG, just Chicago dude, he breaks down everything so well, man. It was just a wonderful conversation. And when you mentioned Rajon Rondo, they kind of talked about that too, of course. They got to talking about Rondo and how literally, and so I thought for a minute you watched it, Jamar, because they talked about how he realized at a youngin, he had 3 Hall of Famers and all he had to do was just manage the game. That's it. We're going to take us there, And so very, very good episode. And so, yes. All right, fellas. Yes, let's now progress to the Atlanta Falcons, y'all. And so is it an overreaction, just quickly, guys, to think that the Atlanta Falcons, who are 5-8, made the right decision to bench Marcus Mariota and go with rookie quarterback Desmond Ritter after a disappointing string of losses and actually being only a game out of, a game and a half out of first place in the NFC South. So what do you think, Jamar?
No, I don't think it's an overreaction. I mean, this team is still technically in playoff contention. Just look at what the Jets did a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they had a winning record. They made a quarterback switch because they know that, probably Mike White gives them the best chance to win right now. It's lack of what Zach Wilson doing. This is probably the same thing with Marcus Mariota. Yeah, you got us to this point, but you might not get us to where we need to be. And also at the same time, we need to see what we have in Desmond Ritter. So as we know, the Falcons offense can only do so much this year. At times, they could be good enough, and then a lot of times they're just trash. But nevertheless, I'm curious to see what this kid can do. Maybe he can actually make this offense, go a little bit better, more consistent. Actually get him a real chance to maybe upset the Bucs in this division when it's all said and done. But no, it's not an overreaction by any means.
Yeah, and your thoughts, bro?
No, not an overreaction. I just think they want to see it. I think Mariota, he hasn't been playing too bad, but he hasn't played great either. I think he's just been kind of just managing the game. And I think at this point, I think they want more. And, they don't have the worst team in the NFL. They got, a lot of young talent. So I think they want, like Jamar said, what they got in Desmond Ritter. It's kind of mind-blowing though that they benched him around this time of the season and they're technically in playoff contention. But I just think they probably just simply want to see what they got in Desmond Ritter. If he doesn't come out, and play, they want him to play, or they feel like he's a franchise, quarterback, then they'll probably draft a quarterback. Even it almost reminds me of almost like the Jalen Hurts situation, in a sense, when he first got to Philadelphia.
Right. Word. True. Yeah, definitely. And so the Falcons 5-8, 4 more to go. Game and a half out. Likely Tampa wins the division, but at this point, you got to see what you can get. You got to see if Tampa goes on a losing streak, which is possible. They are very old and slow, Tampa. If you ever watch them on a game, they are not explosive anymore. It is Tom Brady that literally is salvaging his team right now. And shout out to the 45-year-old. And so we'll see what the Falcons can do. Nothing to lose. And if you don't win a division, at least now you get to see what you got with Desmond Ritter and let you know what decisions you need to make in the offseason. And so, all right. that covers the Atlanta Falcons, y'all. And so top 5 NFL teams. Give you guys my top 5 really quickly. For me, y'all, number 5, I got Cincy. Cincy is for me the giant killer, and they are hot. They are steaming now, and they are getting hot at the right time of the year. Plus, they are not even fully healthy. They got more of their health coming back as well. And they beat Kansas City. They beat a number of really good teams. And so the Bengals is actually in my top 5, and watch out for the Bengals. Number 4, Dallas. Dallas steamrolls people in AT&T Stadium. They are a tough team to beat. They run the ball very well. Tony Pollard looks like he is free finally. And he has a great compliment now with Ezekiel Elliott, who actually seems like he's the second best running back in Dallas. And so Dallas is a great team, great defense. A lot of things clicking well for them. Number 3, Minnesota, just because of the record, 10-2, winning football games. They're squeaking by. The big difference between this Minnesota team and past year Minnesota Viking teams is that this team actually is winning close football games, and they're squeaking it out in the final drives, final minutes, making big plays, making turnovers. And that's really the difference between this Vikings team and past Viking teams. And so Minnesota, 10-2, they got to make my top 5. Number 2, I got Buffalo above Minnesota because I feel like if I put Buffalo and Minnesota on a neutral field, I feel like Buffalo beat the brakes off of them. And that's just me. Yes, Buffalo and Minnesota was a great game, but I felt like in a way, Minnesota got lucky. And I felt like Buffalo just, happened to, once again, kind of get in their own way. But Buffalo still is very explosive, still a very talented football team, and still got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And so if I put them 2 teams on the field again, I think Buffalo beat the brakes off of them. Number 1, Philadelphia. And which many people got Jalen Hurts as the leading candidate for MVP. He is playing great football. Philadelphia is a great team in so many ways. They can beat you with complementary football. They can beat you in clutch moments. They can beat you in a shootout. They can score offensively. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. A.J. Brown is a grown man. Devontae Smith has grown into his own of being a great wide receiver. Philadelphia is the best football team in football, and they are very well-rounded. And so that is my top 5. Jamar, who you got, bro?
Number 5, I got Bills Mafia. I do feel bad for Von Miller. He's officially out for the year. But nevertheless, I feel like this team is still not peaking yet, but I feel like they're heading in the right direction after a middle of the year, a little thunder here. 4, I got Cincinnati. I feel like they're starting to turn it on at the right time. Players getting healthy at the right time. Beginning of the year, we had like a Super Bowl hangover type deal, but the offensive line that they actually put money in is starting to actually pan out right now. And that's been the biggest difference maker. Number 3, hey man, I got Brock Purdy and the 49ers because I feel like that team is still some dogs, ready, waiting. So stand by on that. Number 2, I got the Dallas Cowboys. And I normally don't even put them this high, but they look like a complete football team. They really do, because the running game is there. And Lord, oh boy, they about to run for probably like 300 yards tomorrow. But that's neither here nor there. And number 1, I got the Eagles. I mean, they have, matter of fact, speaking of which, the fact that they played Tennessee last week, and A.J. Brown, of course, wanted to show out, and they got the GM fired afterwards. Because the owner probably, you know what, you look real dumb for this choice. Get out of here. The fact that A.J. Brown came back and just smacked them and got the GM fired. I love that. So yeah, Eagles 1, Cowboys 2, Niners 3, Bengals 4, Bills 5.
And it's up 5, bro.
I got Vikings at 5. Well, they 10-2, but I kind of still don't believe in the Vikings. But for the record, I got them. They 10-2. I got them at 5. I got the Cowboys at 4. Actually, no, I switched that. I got the Bills at 4. Cowboys at 3. Chiefs at 2. And I got the Eagles at 1.
Still got Kansas City up there. Okay. Kansas City did have multiple opportunities to beat Cincinnati again, but Cincinnati came through in the clutch. And
Just got
so,
their number.
yeah. Very interesting to see how that turns out and if they play each other in the playoffs. All right, fellas. College football, notable games. There's no picks required. But 4 Ohio State, y'all, has been listed against 1 Georgia. And 3 TCU has been listed against 2 Michigan. And so just curious, Jamar, just ask you, bro. Did the college football committee get this right by labeling these teams in the order that they did?
I think so. They actually did a better thought than I thought they would, because I thought for sure they was gonna throw Bama in there, and I'd have been really mad because they have no business in there. But I think some people, maybe 50-50, is like, well, Ohio State should be 3rd and TCU should be 4th. I think that they still rewarded the fact that TCU made it to the conference game, but nevertheless, no, I think they got it right.
Yeah. And your thoughts, bro?
This was a tough one. I think they got it right. Only issue I have is, every team that lost in the top 5 this year, they went down or went down a slot or 2 in the rankings. But TCU, they stayed at 3. They lost a game and stayed at 3. As far as I know, when you lose a game, you can't stay at the same ranking. But like Jamar stated, I think that was kind of the plan because of USC losing. So USC losing that Friday night kind of solidified TCU and staying. So I think I wasn't surprised that they stayed, but it was kind of like, in fairness to the other teams that lost early in the year, it's like, they did lose a game and they lost one. They went a slot down. But I also know that they claimed that they didn't think about this when they were doing the top 4 was right. The rematch of Ohio State and Michigan. I know they probably didn't want to in the playoff. So even if they drop TCU to 4 and move Ohio State up to 3, they would have to play Michigan again. I don't think they want to see that again. Now, if they end up playing a national championship again and it just work out that way, then it just work out that way. But I don't think they want to see them in the first round play each other again, which is fine. But other than that, they pretty much got it right. Now, I'm not a Bama fan, but Bama does have an argument that they could have got in the top 4. But, they lost 2 games, so.
Yeah, they lost 2 games in the last drives, too. Could have won both of the games, right? Both of the games came down to on the road, last-minute drives. Both was overtime. Right? Both was overtime against top 10 or Mississippi was top 10, and then Tennessee was like top 5 or something. I don't know. It was like a real, they were top 10 too. They were top 10 too. And so Alabama definitely had an argument. For me, y'all, I definitely thought it would have been right to put TCU at 4, but that again, y'all, is my old abysmal thinking of, just because it's TCU and it's not the huge programs. Generally we done got so spoiled, Annie Jamar, right? If a small school like TCU, which they're not a small school, but if a school like TCU that comes and they're not playing Ohio State and Michigan every year, gets into the playoff, they are generally a number 4 seed. They are generally that very last seed. And I think we've gotten so used to seeing that over the past years, y'all, to where it kind of shocked us to see Ohio State number 4 and TCU number 3. It was very interesting to not see that Michigan and Ohio State, they didn't think about that. I think that would have been great for the college football playoff. But then again, it might be even better if it's a national championship. If that's the national championship, it's going to be lit. And so, that'd be even better. But, I also thought if you put TCU in at number 4, it would give Georgia a clear path to the national championship, which is something that they deserve. being that they went undefeated the entire season, they should have the weaker opponent of all 4 teams. Because I feel like if Ohio State and TCU played, I feel like Ohio State would beat them. And so, with that being said, I felt like TCU should have been number 4. But hey, you got Ohio State and Georgia, baby. Get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready. That's going to be a national championship game right there. And if you ask me, Michigan probably got the easier of the opponents. But then again, Michigan ain't no clear cut either because they running back, their Heisman running back is hurt. You know, and so that's a very open game, man. And TCU, they might go from losing to Kansas State to being in a national championship. And so this is very interesting as time goes forward. We'll see how this turns out. And so, yes, with that being said, fellas, let's go into the NFL picks. We got week 14 games that are on us. And so, Jamar, are you still on that Steelers bandwagon? It is noted, right? Is Lamar Jackson out this weekend? Because I know he was hurt last weekend and they squeaked by. He's likely out this weekend, right? Because Pittsburgh is favored to win.
Yeah, he's labeled as doubtful, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Brett Huntley show.
Right. Yeah. So who you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know, man. They just been a little different lately. I think ever since TJ Watt came back, I feel like that defense has played well enough, and I think every week Kenny Pickett has gotten better and better and more. Also like more confidence. So I'm in this rivalry game. I'm taking the Steelers at home.
Yeah. And what about you, bro?
I'm gonna go Steelers.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, fellas, man, I can see why Pittsburgh is favored to win. Some tell me though that Baltimore will squeak this one out. But then again, if the Steelers win, I just want to see the Steelers win because I want to see Mike Tomlin, you know, do that scrud as he do after every game after he wins. And so that'd be cool to see. So yeah, but I'm gonna pick Baltimore for this one. I think it'll be a very good game though. The Vikings, y'all, at Detroit. Check this out. Another team with a losing record as a favorite. So Jamar, who you got for this one?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like I just mentioned this a few minutes ago, how crazy this is. I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Detroit. I'm taking the Lions. I'm taking the team that's favored in this one. How about that? I'm taking Mr. Grit. I'm taking Dan Campbell and the boys. I just think they just get it done.
Yeah. And what about you, bro?
I'm with Jamar with this one. I'm taking the Lions. Grit.
Yeah.
Hashtag grit.
For me, I'm gonna take the Vikings. It's nothing against Detroit. But I do think that the Vikings are 10-2 for a reason, y'all. So based off of the records and how the teams have performed overall this season, I'm gonna go with the safe bet here. But Detroit, it could very well end up putting the clamps in the Vikings. And so yeah, I'm gonna take the Vikings just to be safe. Jag, y'all, at Tennessee. Who you got for this one, Jamar?
I'm taking the Titans. I don't even know if Trevor Lawrence is going to play or not. If he does play, I think he's still banged up. I'm taking Tennessee.
And what about you, bro?
Is this game in Jacksonville?
Nope. Nashville.
I'm taking the Jaguars. Jaguars for the upset.
Tennessee has been crumbling lately. They have been very inconsistent. And I just put this out there, Ann and Jamar. If Ryan Tannehill keeps playing like trash, the Titans eventually got to wake up and be like, hey, we got a decision to make for real. And so hopefully Malik Willis continues to develop in Tennessee. But I'm going to go with the Titans as well. I think they realize that they need a win. They need to win. They have lost the last 2 games, and they have been faltering at the wrong time. They better win. They better beat the Jaguars. So I'm going to go with the Titans. Jamar, Eagles at the Giants.
I don't think Saquon is playing tomorrow. That's a problem. With that being said, I'm taking the Eagles.
And
Fly Eagles fly.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. Should be a good football game though, because the Eagles have not been like dominating teams. So I see the Giants putting up a fight, especially being at home. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles. Jets at the Bills. This should be a fun one. Who you got for this one, Jamar?
Ooh, this is gonna be fun. Man, because Mike White is quarterback, so it makes things a little interesting here. I'm gonna take Bills Mafia. I don't have the warm and fuzzies. I don't take Bills Mafia.
Yeah, and what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bills Mafia.
Yeah. With y'all, I'm gonna go with the Bills as well. I think this is an interesting, y'all. I think this is an interesting one. Browns at the Bengals, because now Deshaun Watson is playing. I know he looked terrible last week, but that was his first game back in multiple years. And it hard to a game. But the Browns, 5-7, should be 6-6, 7-5, but they 5-7. They are at the Bengals tomorrow. Who do you got for this one, Jamar?
I think I'm pretty sure I read this stat that Joe Burrow does not have a win in his career against the Browns. I think I read that. With that being said, I'm definitely taking the Bengals on this one. I'm not taking the Browns. I can't do it. I can't do it. Who they?
Right. Who do you got for this one, Ian?
Taking the Browns. Nick Chubb has a big game. Watson.
Sir Nicholas.
I got the Browns too in this one. I got the Browns in this one too, man. I think Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Deshaun Watson, I think they run the ball, y'all, and they hold the Bengals offense off that field, man. I got the Browns in that one. That's going to be a good one. I want to see that one, man. I want to see that one bad. All right, y'all. Davis Mills is starting again for the Texans, okay? And so the Texans realize, hey, we got a chance to get a first-round pick. We need you, Davis Mills, to go out there and throw picks, okay? And we need you to go out there and do it consistently. And so Davis Mills, y'all, is starting at quarterback again for the Texans. And so I'm curious, y'all, do you got the Texans going into Dallas and pulling off an upset tomorrow, Jamar?
All right, everybody on three. 1, 2, 3. Cowboys.
Pretty much.
You're moving.
Pretty much, man. The Texans pull this one out. This will be the upset of the year in the NFL if it happens. Y'all. Speaking of upsets of the year, this could be another upset of the year, y'all. If the Broncos beat the Chiefs, who do you got for this one, Jamar? And
I ain't gonna disrespect the Broncos. I ain't riding either. I ain't gonna put them on the countdown like we did the Texans, but I ain't riding.
Nah.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I got the Chiefs too. Bucks, y'all, at the Niners. So could be a good one. What do you think, Jamar? And
yeah, I'm taking the Niners. I think Brock Purdy gets it done because the sum of his parts as a whole are superior to the Bucks.
yeah, what about you?
She sure is Purdy. I'm taking
That's my movie. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna have to go with y'all too, man. I'm gonna go with the Niners. The Bucks just look slow. Like they're not explosive like they used to. Leonard Fournette, like he been eating too many cheeseburgers lately. Y'all see how fat he is? Like I don't know.
Wasn't that the narrative going into camp though?
It was. They just don't look athletic, man. I don't know, but and then you got Godwin, y'all, who's still recovering from that ACL, and that don't take overnight. That takes a while. Mike Evans getting into it with everybody, and so like right, then you got a bad offensive line, and Tom Brady at 45. I'm gonna go with the Niners in this one. I do think the Bucks though realize, hey, we still are the Bucks. You know, we Bucks. You can't tell them you can't tell the Bucks y'all that they not them dudes. And so that they like we just won a Super Bowl and we just could have won a Super Bowl last year. So we not finna just lay down. So the Bucks, I think, pull off a lot of pride tomorrow, and I think this is a very good game, especially since Brock Purdy is starting. But I'm gonna go with the Niners as well. The Panthers, y'all, at the Seahawks. Geno Smith, man, lighten it up, man. They got a good opportunity tomorrow. The Panthers, however, y'all sometimes pull off upsets and we wouldn't expect them to. They win when we never expect them to. Jamar, followed up by Ian. Who you guys got for this one?
I think Sam Darnold is starting this Sunday. Look, man, I'm gonna have to take Seattle by default, but I'm not gonna say that this game can't be close either. But when it's all said and done, I'm gonna have to. I gotta take the quarterback that's playing the better and the better weapons around him. I'm gonna have to take Seattle.
Yeah. Ian, what about you?
Keep pounding. Go on my Panthers.
Ooh.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks in this one. I think Seattle pulls off some magic at home. The Dolphins, y'all, bad out last weekend in San Francisco. Now they go back across the country again to LA. Dolphins are being tested. They are playing a team in the Chargers that have been good on paper and have been just very mediocre on the field. Jamar, who you got for this one?
I'm taking the Dolphins. Like as great of a Hall of Fame talent that Justin Herbert is, and the comparisons to Dan Marino and all this other stuff. Like until I actually see you in the playoffs, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I'm a believer of Mike McDaniel's offense. I'm taking the Dolphins.
And who you got for this one, bro?
Ends up going with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins too, man. I think the Dolphins are a very explosive team. Let's see what the Chargers can do. The Chargers are very explosive too, at least on paper. All that talent. Maybe they put something together tomorrow. Who knows? I mean, you are at home and the Dolphins are coming way across the country. This will be a great opportunity to win a football game. The Chargers to be a great opportunity. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go. All right, y'all. The Patriots at the Cardinals. Jamar, who you got for this one?
I'm gonna take the team that's in desperation mode. That's the Arizona Cardinals. Look, I said from the beginning of this year they weren't making the playoffs, and that's looking pretty solid. But nevertheless, I still think they're gonna put up at least one last punch here to try to do something with that. So I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah, what about you, bro?
Going with the Cardinals.
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with the Pats. I think the Pats find a way to squeak this one out in the classic Monday Night Football game. And I think the Cardinals just find a way to give it away, as they generally do. So I'm gonna go with the Pats. So, world, that concludes our NFL picks. So, fellas, as we head into the weekend, any final thoughts or shout outs, fellas, as we head into this weekend?
Yikes! I usually have one on on standby. Come back to me.
Okay. And bro, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into the weekend?
I think I got about 3. Shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to the Colorado. Big move, big signing for the coach. Another Black head coach in the Power 5 conference. That's pretty good. Marvin Harrison Jr. got robbed. What was that, Thursday night of the Biletnikoff Award? I don't understand how you didn't win.
You are such an Ohio State fan. All the deets at Ohio State.
Yeah, he got robbed Thursday night. So hopefully, the Heisman Trophy presentation is tonight. We'll see who wins that. I have one more. Oh, shout out to, they lost last night, but shout out to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, he's been on a tear as a last couple weeks. He's been playing like AD in New Orleans. They made it a close game, but they laid an egg in overtime last night. But he's been playing pretty well.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Shout out to AD because they were getting their tails whooped down by 20 with like 8 minutes left. I'm like, game over without turn. And all of a sudden, Anthony Davis, I'm looking up and LeBron's leading the scoring out of nowhere. Anthony Davis at 35. I'm like, damn, that was fast. Like, he must have just started shooting out of nowhere. And before I knew it, it was an overtime. I look up, oh, it's overtime. Like, I didn't watch the game, but I just looked at my phone and it was real fast. And so shows you how explosive he can be. I do want to shout out y'all the World Cup. And I do want to send the last special shout out to Brittney Griner. I'm happy that she's home. We talked about it last week with Lex Barrows. And you know, now she is back. Yes, keep that same energy, world. And other than that, we thank you all for tuning in with us this morning on our Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. And I'll let our brother Jamar give us the final word this morning.
Zion Williamson. How can I forget? Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. Shout out to them for being number one in the Western Conference. With the punctuation of that windmill yesterday, pissing off the Phoenix Suns. He was like, he basically said, you know, it's not in my character, but they sent my boys home last year in the playoffs. So he took it personally. And that team is ferocious. They are living up to what we thought they were. So shout out to them and him, because my gosh, he is generational talent. So
yes, absolutely. And they got so many weapons on this team. Look out for the New Orleans Pelicans. Yes, they are coming, man, and they are going to be tough to beat come the springtime. And so, yes, world, we thank you all for chopping it up with us this morning. May you all have a blessed weekend, and thank you again, and peace to you all.